Well, a swift advance by opposition fighters in Syria has proven to be a huge problem for Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. At least 446 people, including civilians, are dead after Syrian rebels seized control of the city of Aleppo, that region that had long been controlled by al-Assad's forces.
This conflict risks drawing Russia in and Turkey. They've already got troops on the ground there. Each have their own interests in Syria, and they could be in direct heavy fighting against each other and against these rebels that are storming these cities. ABC News foreign correspondent Tom Soufi Burridge has the latest.
So, Tom, let's talk about Turkey and Russia here and how they're getting involved. What do you know?
Well, I mean, they're big players, right? I mean, Turkey backs the rebels. The main rebel faction is an Islamist fundamentalist group, an offshoot of a successor of al-Qaeda. But Turkey has been backing some of these rebel groups for years. And very, very important support. And that's one of the reasons why these rebel groups have been successful. The other reason is because Russia is partly overstretched by its war in Ukraine, and its ability to help Bashar al-Assad's regime in Syria is therefore limited. We are, though, guys, seeing the Russians help the Syrian military launching airstrikes against the rebels up in Idlib, their stronghold in the northwest of Syria right now, and into Aleppo, the second largest city of Syria, which the rebels have taken in this lightning offensive in the last few days.
So, Tom, this kind of sounds like what they used to call the Great Game. That was in a somewhat different part of the world, where these great powers, right? You've got Russia and Turkey, as you've described, the Syrian government is a client essentially of the Iranian state. Israel's got its interest. The United States has its interest. What does this mean for the people of Syria? I know you've been there.
Well, I mean, it's heartbreaking, right? I mean, the people of Syria are caught in the middle of this, and we've seen, so many Syrian refugees fleeing the country over the last few years, ever since the civil war in Syria began back in 2011. Many of them coming here to Europe. I mean, look, you're right, Terry. This is an illustration, this lightning offensive. The fact that Bashar al-Assad's forces have been so badly humiliated, it is a reminder that the war in Gaza, the war in Lebanon, the war in Ukraine, the war in Syria, they're all interlinked, because you've got these powers, Russia involved, Iran involved, and Iran's main proxy, Hezbollah in Lebanon, has been greatly damaged by Israel in recent months of fighting, and therefore its ability to impact the war in Syria right now and to come to Bashar al-Assad's aid is greatly diminished too. So, look, I think it's virtually certain that Bashar al-Assad's regime at some point will try and launch a counter-offensive. There are reports that you've got militias linked to Iran already streaming over the border from Iraq. So again, it shows you how these conflicts are all interlinked. It's another dangerous moment in the Middle East. And we'll have to see when Bashar al-Assad's regime launches some kind of counter-offensive. He'll want to take back Aleppo. He'll have to take back Aleppo. He'll have to try and save his face. At the moment, we're just seeing very predictable rhetoric from the Bashar al-Assad regime glossing over this humiliating defeat, but it is a very, very significant moment in a very long war, which has had a terrible cost for the Syrian people.
Yeah, I remember I was there when the Russians first came in, stole a march on Barack Obama. They're still there, as are so many other players. Tom Soufi Burridge, as always, thanks for helping us understand it.